What is going on, everybody? Brandon Loomis back with another Freshwater Bandits video, and obviously, as you can tell by the title, what we're doing today is going through my top 5 favorite spawn baits, predominantly closer up to shore, about 10 yards off, bedded bass, stuff like that is what we're going to be kind of focusing on. Then again, these are my top 5. A lot of people aren't going to agree, especially with something I have to say later, but we all have the option to disagree. However, I do want to talk about new baits in the Bandit arsenal. I've never used one of these. This is an Alabama or umbrella rig, depending on what you want to call it. For those of you who don't know what this is, you have a plastic head up top here with a eyelet. That's where you tie your line to. You have 5 little wires coming out that'll spread out, and those are hooked to these 5 little baits. I've never used the Alabama rig. I'm very curious to see how it works in my ponds, my lakes, and my rivers. So we picked up 3 of them. We're going to give it a go this year and see exactly how well they do. And the next bait that I'm going to be focusing on in 2021 fishing season is a jointed swim bait or glide bait, depending on what you want to call it. I think the glide baits are bigger. This is a 3-joint, 4-piece swim bait. See, it's got the 2 trebles and the eyelet up here. It's obviously in the sexy shad color. I think for me personally, this is going to substitute out for the lipless crankbait. I don't really throw the lipless crankbait all that much because I fish densely vegetated ponds and stuff. I'll throw it off of a boat or off of a dock, but I won't throw it that often. However, I do feel like this will come in handy when you're bank fishing on a deeper ledge. So this and the Alabama rig are definitely going to be making a big entrance into our arsenal for 2021. However, let's get into today's video. We have 5 baits laid out right here, and I know there's going to be people that disagree with me, but that's fine. You guys fish however you want to fish, whatever works for you, and I'm going to show you exactly how I catch fish during the spawn. Hey guys, so kind of out of left field, my number 5 is what me and my girlfriend call juice. If you don't know from my other videos, juice is a 1/8 ounce jig head, tiny little thing, and a little 2-inch crappie plastic there. This is a crappie bait, but this thing tossed out on a spinning gear will just absolutely smack for the spawn. You only have to cast it out, a couple feet out, and it's almost a guarantee to catch something. That's why I like it. You're not just limiting yourself to largemouth bass at that point. You're opening to crappie and bluegill and this and that, which I know you're bass fishing, but on a slow, cold day, you'll take what you can get. However, last year, 2020, me and my girlfriend hooked into quite a few largemouth with this thing, and not bad sizes either. So this thing holds a special place in my heart for largemouth spawn, so it's got to be on the list. That's my number 5. Alright, so number 4 comes kind of to surprise to me, to be honest with you, because I thought it would be ranked higher up on the list here, and that is the square bill crankbait. I prefer the square bill over a lot of things anyway. However, for spawn, the way I work these and the way you can work these, it beats out, in my opinion, it beats out the lipless crankbait for spawn and the jerkbait, all these other, lipless and lipped baits. I use the square bill specifically for the fact that it's a floating bait unless you move it. So it'll sit on top, for those who don't know, it'll sit on top of the water until it's moved, and then it'll dive down to 3 to 6 foot. And then it'll just kind of creep back up slowly. The reason I like these is because you can hear how loud, I know the face is right, you can hear how loud these baits are. They're not as loud as your lipless crankbaits, but they definitely have the rattles in them. They're definitely going to make noise. And I like a bait that's going to suspend on the bed or suspend in front of a largemouth's face instead of a lipless crankbait that'll get right there and drop to the bottom. Like I said before, I fish highly vegetated ponds, so having something to hit the bottom of the pond and grab all that grass during spawn is not something I want to play with. So yeah, a suspended bait like this, you can move it slow. I tend to slow roll it, which is just like a slow retrieve, just crank, 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 and you make it move slowly. Of course, putting your pauses in there when you get closer. Obviously, the square bill is going to be on this list, and obviously, I did not think it was going to be number 4. However, it is. That's our number 4, the square bill crankbait. Let's move on. Okay, another kind of surprising, shocking turn of events is our number 3 spot. I didn't think that I would put this at the number 3 only because that I personally rarely use this to begin with. It is definitely a big deal in my arsenal. However, it's not the first thing I grab. And that is the swim jig. The swim jig, me personally, I do not work a jig or a Texas rig the way everybody does or the way you're supposed to. I am a specific slow roll, pause, slow roll, pause. That's why I use swim jigs. That way it'll move through the bait, pause, once it hits the bottom, those claws are going to suspend up, and then once you start retrieving, it'll move again, imitating a moving crawl. And the reason I like these swim jigs for spawn is because I do put crawl trailers on the back, and you can drag these literally through their bed, and you can rest them there, and you can give them a minute to go, hey, what the hell is that on my bed? These things smack. And on top of that, you can take one of these jigs and you can also put on a little swim bait on the back. And this is a Guggen Squad swim bait. This one is the bluegill color. You throw a swimmer on the back and they'll think it is a bluegill coming into their nest. What you're going for spawn is to piss them off. You know, you want to make them mad to where they attack your bait. Loud noises, flashy colors, encroaching on their spaces. That's going to piss them off. So that's why I use the swim jig. I can slow roll it. I can get it on top of their bed. It's a heavier bait, so I know I can get it out down the bank farther because you don't want to really walk up to a fish right in front of you on a bed. So I know I can get it down the bank farther. It's just an all-around, what can you not use with a jig? Like, what can you not fish with a jig? A jig is an all-around great year-round bait. But spawn, it seems to shine a little bit more for me. So now that was number 3. We've gone through the juice, the square bill, and the jig. Let's get on to our number 2 spot. And this one, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. This one blew my mind because I know I made the list, but I was sitting down looking at all of my lures, and I said, what exactly would take that number 2 spot? And like I said in the last clip, what you want to do for spawn is piss them off. You want it to be loud, flashy, put off a bunch of vibrations, get into their space, and trigger them, make them go, hey, get the hell out of here. So that's why at number 2 I had to put the chatterbait, or the bladed jig as people call it. The chatterbait is just like the jig, except for it has this metal blade on the front of it that you'll tie your line to here. Maybe not. Tie your line to here. And as it runs through the water, this blade gives off a vibration, and it's extremely loud. Me, as you can see, I put the paddle tail swim bait on the back of this one, the crawl on the back of this one. They're very versatile. You can put whatever you want on the back. You can put nothing on the back. It doesn't matter. But that blade's going to give off vibrations in the water. It's also going to make that flash because they're silver blades. And then you're going to get, it has the benefits of working as a jig. This is a weighted jig head here. So it has that benefits of working as a jig to get into that bed and just sit there. And you can pop it, and you can pop it. And it's going to piss them off enough to where they're going to want to say, hey, that thing needs to get out of my space. It's loud, it's shiny, it's in my space. Get the hell out of here. So that's why I had to, unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I don't reach for the chatterbait. except for spawn. That's the only time I'll use this bait throughout the entire year. Maybe in the fall once or twice, but no. I only use the chatterbait through spawn. It's just when it seems to really shine. So that was our number 2 spot. Let's get on to number 1. Obviously, I can't move on to number 1 without mentioning people's top 2 favorite baits of all time. And that is the lipless crankbait and the jerkbait. Everybody loves the jerkbait and the lipless crankbait for spawn. The lipless crankbait because it is extremely loud, the rattle trap. It's extremely loud, and nothing pisses a largemouth off more than a rattle trap. However, it didn't make the list. The next one is the jerkbait, and however, this does work for almost any situation you throw it in. I also didn't put it on the list only because it works the same as the square bill. I prefer the square bill. It has a bigger body presentation, talking about the thickness of it. This versus a long, skinny jerkbait, which I'm not saying that these baits are bad. I'm just saying that personally, through my spawn, I don't use them. You can achieve the exact same effect with other baits, and that's what I've learned. That's what I found. So honorable mention goes to the lipless crankbait and the jerkbait. Keep throwing them. I don't care. I'm not going to. Let's move on to our last and final bait. Alright guys, it's time to move on to my number 1 pick for the spawn baits of my choice. I guess top five spawn baits. I'm tired. If any of you have been fishing with me, or if any of you personally know me, you know I don't go anywhere without my soft plastic lures. Which means that my number 1 is my tried and true Texas rig crawl and paddle tail. The paddle tail, I throw it a lot during spawn, but I always reach for my crawl. I'll go through 3 or 4 bags of crawls a day during spawn. This thing freaking rocks them. All you have to do is throw it down about 10 yards out, maybe 30 yards down the bank, slow roll it back to you with your rod tip hanging over the edge of the bank, and I swear you're gonna get hit. I swear it. These things freaking rock. It's a minimalistic setup. You don't have the, extra stuff that a jig has. You don't have the weight that the jig has. You have a smaller weight and your hook. That's it. And of course the soft plastic, but that's it. This thing is a light setup. It is so easy to get into places. This thing smacks. Absolutely 110%. No doubt about it. This was number 1. Before I even started picking the other lures, I was like, obviously the Texas rig is going to be featured number 1. So there you go. Texas rig takes my number 1 spot. Huh. Alright guys, there you go. That's my top 5 favorite spawn baits. Of course, like I said, these are my favorite spawn baits. I know there's going to be people out there that's going to disagree with me. Oh no, it's the lipless, it's the this, it's the that, it's the blah, 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 blah. That's fine, 100%. That's your opinion. I'm just telling you guys what I pick up. Maybe you guys didn't think about some of these during spawn, like the juice. But these are what I use. If you guys use anything different, anything that I haven't said in this video, go ahead and drop it down in the comment section and let me know so I can try it as well. And if you guys use these, go ahead and, if you use any of the baits that I've mentioned today, Alabama rig, the jointed swim, the 1/8 ounce, square bill, jig, clutch, Texas rig. If you guys use any of these baits, go ahead and hit that like button so I know that you guys are on my team. Speaking of team, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to subscribe to our channel and make my numbers go up. And if you want to know every single time that the Freshwater Bandits release a video, go ahead and hit that post notification bell, and your phone will ding every time I post a video. Our next video is going to be something along the lines of spawn, because fishing season is right around the corner. With that being said, I hope you guys are staying happy, staying healthy, and staying safe. And I hope you guys never forget to keep cranking.